Did you know there is one way in which you can make sure all your reels which you put on social media will be able to perform better? Well, if you're not using Instagram and you're probably editing all of those videos before uploading on any of these social media platforms on Premiere Pro, I have a smart little trick for you. Did you know that every reel that has a subtitle or a caption track with it tends to perform way better than one without it? Let me tell you how you can add captions in Premiere Pro and make sure that you can create a style out of it that you can reuse in multiple projects. So let's get started. Well, one thing before we get started actually, you need to be using the most updated version of Premiere Pro to use this. Of course, the non-paid or cracked versions will not be able to do this, or this is not a feature that the coders have been able to do it for that version. But then again, if you have the paid version, you'll have to make sure that you are using the most updated. Well, the one that I am using is Premiere Pro CC 2024, and you can be using that or anything that comes after that as well. And I hope that it will work.
So here I do have a simple video which is recorded in 720p, which I want to convert into a simple reel. Now to do that, I will create a new sequence, select one of these social formats, which is 9:16 format, and let's say okay. Now I do have this over here, drag this up and drop this video over here. Okay, everything looks good. You can play the audio as well. Now I do see that there is some problem with the text. The text is getting cut. That is something that I can figure out in the upcoming content. But just before that, let's get to subtitles. Now, once I have this video, I want to open from Windows the text panel, and here I have text panel, and there are a couple of options over here: transcript, captions, and graphics. Now over here I can hit this word, this button called transcribe, which will create or generate a transcript, taking in the audio from the video itself and transcribing it just like what Google services would do. But hey, that will depend on how well is the word spoken. If the dialogues are not as clear, Premiere might have certain difficulty converting it. Over here we have a computer-based audio, and that's why it works very well. So let's just double check whether all of the text is correct. And to do that, I can just play the video from the beginning, and you can see that this will get highlighted as and when it gets selected.
Are you also tired of throwing up your plants simply because they dried out? We have the solution for you. This is Moistly.
So you can see that the Moistly word has not been captured correctly, so I can convert that and type it over here. So let's just put Moistly.
Moistly, giving your plants a voice. When your plants need water, Moistly will beep.
Again, this is supposed to be Moistly.
Now once you've created this transcript, you need to convert it into captions. You can have a style for it that we'll quickly see.
Okay, so now I've figured out most of the text. I've made sure that everything is correct. Once this is done, I can go to this button right over here, which is create captions, and it will create or generate captions. Now there are a couple of settings that I can choose from over here. The preset, I just stick to subtitle default because it's easy to design it after. Under captioning preference, you can choose style, but that is if you already have a style set. We'll get to that in a short while. And then there are a couple of other options, which is maximum length in characters. So maybe I can just stick it to a smaller number because I want big subtitles on my screen. And minimum duration doesn't have to change. Lines, single or double, all of this is good. And once this is done, you can see a new track has been added, which is a subtitle track over here. Once this is here, you can still make changes and you can combine or split different subtitle captions if required. You can also play around with these layers just like you would do with any other edit by increasing or reducing the amount of time. You can do that by doing this, something like that. And the ripple tools also work very similarly as we have generally used to. So that way you can end up changing the text, the appearance of the text as and when necessary. Once this is done, let's check the style. So you select one of these and the essential graphics tab should open up. If it doesn't, you know what to do. Go to essential graphics tab panel from the window tab. Over here, I can choose a design. So let's stick with my favorite font, which is the bold font for the font selection. Maybe make the size slightly bigger. Convert the color into something green because that's what the topic is about. And once this is done, I can update it to all the captions on track by hitting this small arrow. So once this is done, you can see that all of these subtitles are now having the same style. I can still change the design for one of those layers if necessary. For instance, this one, now it looks too big. I can just spread it out and make it smaller, and I do not have to change it across everywhere. Let's mute it for a second and let's just double check if everything is okay. Oh, I see moistly is something that can be highlighted. Instead of putting this in quotes, maybe I can just remove it from over here and give it a slight different color. So I can just select one part and change the color for just that bit. There we go. Okay, I think the color otherwise was better, so maybe I can change this somewhat into a better structure. So let's say give it green, and maybe I can add a small stroke around it. Okay, this looks good. Continuing with everything else. Now I can choose to do the edit with the rest of the video. I can just make all of those fixes. If I want to reduce the size over here, I can just do that for this specific segment as well, and then continue editing it as per necessary.
Well, wasn't that easy? So make sure that every video that you are creating going forward has a caption track associated with it. You can even do more stuff in those captions by adding emojis, icons, by typing in all of those in the caption track itself. That makes it way more interesting. Now, before I close this, here's a small CTA. Make sure that you like this video, share with somebody who you think would be benefiting from it, and subscribe to the channel Designer. I will see you in another video.